When the Canon EOS R3 first arrived in 2021, it immediately sent a clear message to a very specific group of photographers. This was Canon reaching back out to sport shooters, wildlife professionals, and photojournalists who had long associated the brand with the confidence, balance, and authority of the legendary 1D series. The EOS R3 did not feel like a generic mirrorless body adapted for speed, it felt intentional from the moment you picked it up. Dense, solid, and unapologetically professional, it carried a sense of purpose that many working photographers instantly recognized. Now, several years later, attention is naturally shifting toward what comes next. The Canon EOS R3 Mark II is no longer just a hypothetical update. It is becoming a serious point of discussion, and for good reason. Timing plays a critical role in understanding why the Canon EOS R3 Mark II conversation is gaining momentum. Canon has a long-standing habit of aligning major professional camera announcements with global sporting events, moments when performance cameras are most visible and most relevant. With major international competitions on the horizon, including Olympic-level events, the window for a high-performance camera update makes strategic sense. At the same time, the original EOS 3 South African Rand is now approaching more than 4 years on the market. In the world of professional, performance-driven bodies, that is a long life cycle. Technology moves quickly, expectations evolve, and competitors do not stand still. Since 2021, the mirrorless landscape has changed dramatically. Sony has pushed boundaries with global shutter technology. Nikon has refined stacked sensor performance and speed. Canon itself has introduced the EOS R1, reshaping the top of its own lineup. Against that backdrop, the natural question becomes not just whether the Canon EOS R3 Mark II will arrive, but how it will fit, and how it can evolve without undermining Canon's flagship. Understanding the expected direction of the Canon EOS R3 Mark II starts with the sensor, because sensor philosophy defines intent. The original EOS R3 used a 24-megapixel stacked camo sensor, and that choice was never about chasing spec sheet headlines. It was about speed, readout performance, reduced rolling shutter artifacts, and consistent results in fast, unpredictable environments. Sports and wildlife photographers rarely ask for extreme resolution, they ask for reliability, responsiveness, and files they can trust under pressure. For the Canon EOS R3 Mark II, expectations lean heavily toward preserving that speed-first philosophy. Rather than dramatically increasing megapixel count, Canon is more likely to refine readout speed, dynamic range, and high ISO behavior. There has been growing discussion within the industry about Canon exploring a global shutter-style approach, or at least moving closer to one in practice. For professionals working under artificial lighting, this is not an abstract technical debate. LED lighting in modern stadiums can cause banding. Fast-moving subjects can suffer from rolling shutter distortion. Any meaningful reduction in these issues would have an immediate, real-world impact. If the Canon EOS R3 Mark II can minimize or eliminate these problems, it becomes a more dependable tool in situations where missed frames are not an option. High ISO performance also remains far more important than raw resolution in this class. The original EOS R3 earned praise for delivering clean, usable files well beyond ISO 12800, and professionals noticed. That characteristic is likely something Canon will protect carefully. Moderate resolution supports faster burst rates, deeper buffers, and consistent performance, qualities that define this line. Of course, sensor performance does not exist in isolation. The processing pipeline is just as critical. Canon's Digic processors have served the company well for years, but they are beginning to show their age when compared to newer architectures focused on AI-driven performance. Canon has already introduced additional processing engines, such as the Digic Accelerator, to handle advanced subject recognition and autofocus logic. For the Canon EOS R3 Mark II, a refreshed core processor could unlock smarter noise reduction, smoother tonal transitions, and faster decision-making in autofocus tracking. This matters because real-world shooting conditions are rarely clean or predictable. Sports environments are chaotic. Wildlife scenes are complex. Improved subject recognition and tracking reduce the mental load on the photographer and increase keeper rates in ways that spec sheets cannot fully capture. The shooting experience itself is another area where expectations for the Canon EOS R3 Mark II are high. Professionals spend long hours behind the camera, often in demanding physical conditions. Viewfinder quality becomes more than a luxury, it is a necessity. An upgraded electronic viewfinder, potentially similar to the high-resolution OLED unit found in the EOS R1, would be a logical step. Higher resolution, smoother refresh rates, and lower latency all contribute to a more natural viewing experience, especially when tracking fast-moving subjects. Reduced eye strain over long assignments can make a meaningful difference in real-world use. Eye control AF, one of the most distinctive features of the EOS R3, is also expected to evolve. Early versions already demonstrated how powerful the concept could be when properly tuned. With deeper AI integration and more advanced subject logic, an updated eye control system could handle crowded frames, overlapping subjects, and erratic movement more effectively. For sports shooters dealing with complex scenes or wildlife photographers tracking birds in flight, the ability to guide focus intuitively while the camera keeps up could significantly improve shooting efficiency. The Canon EOS R3 Mark II has an opportunity to refine this feature into something that feels less like a novelty and more like an essential professional tool. While still photography remains the primary focus for most EOS R3 users, video cannot be ignored. The line between stills and motion continues to blur, especially for professionals working with agencies or clients who expect both. The Canon EOS R3 Mark II is unlikely to chase flashy video features for their own sake, but stable, high-quality internal recording with professional codecs would make sense. Options like high frame rate 6K recording, combined with robust heat management, would appeal to working professionals who need reliable performance rather than headline-grabbing specs. Canon's strength in color science also plays a role here, as consistent color across stills and video simplifies workflow and post-production. Resolution remains one of the most debated topics whenever a new professional camera is discussed. Some photographers want more megapixels for cropping flexibility. Others prioritize speed, responsiveness, and reliability above all else. The Canon EOS R3 Mark II must strike a careful balance. A significant jump in resolution could compromise burst performance, buffer depth, or low light behavior, factors that define the camera's identity. Looking at competitors helps clarify the challenge. Sony clearly separates its high-resolution and high-speed lines. Nikon blends roles but still maintains distinctions. Canon often allows more overlap, which can be beneficial, but it also demands clarity. For the Canon EOS R3 Mark II to justify its existence alongside the EOS R1, it must maintain a clearer emphasis on speed and dependability. When all these elements are considered together, the Canon EOS R3 Mark II feels not only plausible but necessary, provided Canon remains focused on what made the original R3 special. Speed-first design, refined processing, smarter autofocus, and dependable handling are what will define its success. If Canon delivers on these fundamentals, the Canon EOS R3 Mark II can secure its place as a critical tool for sports, wildlife, and photojournalism professionals. If not, the original EOS R3 may stand as a unique moment in Canon's mirrorless evolution. Ultimately, cameras at this level are judged not by rumors or promises, but by performance in the field. As more details emerge, the true value of the Canon EOS R3 Mark II will become clear through real use, honest expectations, and the demands of professional work.